Carson Beck entered the 2026 draft as potential first or second round pick depending on who you asked. His appeal is very easy to understand. He was a multi-year starter at Georgia, played against SEC competition every week, and has a reputation for being a smart quarterback who understands how to operate an offense. Those traits do matter, and they also are the reason why I believe Carson Beck has a chance to start games in the NFL. But being capable of starting is not the same thing as being a good quarterback, and it's definitely not the same thing as being a franchise quarterback. And when I watch Beck's film, I see a quarterback with major concerns in some of the most important areas of the position: decision making, ball placement, creating explosive plays, and functioning outside a structure. Those issues consistently show up on tape, and they limit his ceiling far more than most people want to admit. One of the most important things when evaluating a quarterback is their big time throw rate and their turnover rate play rate. For Carson Beck, this is my biggest complaint, as he is a pocket quarterback. He's not someone who plays well out of structure, and so this means he needs to create explosive plays from the pocket. Looking at Carson Beck's 2024 big time throw rate and turnover rate play rate, we see it's not good at all. Having a low 4.8 big time throw rate, 3.8% turnover rate play rate. This is not good. If you don't put up a lot of big time throws and are a conservative QB in this manner, then you need to not make a lot of critical mistakes with the ball. If he has a 4.8 big time throw rate, he needs to have less than a 2% turnover rate play rate. Like Tyler Shook last year, he had a 5.8% big time throw rate, which is lower than what you would want, but he had a 1.8% turnover rate play rate, which is elite level. Beck had a 3.8% rate, and that ratio to his big time throw rate is bad, but this doesn't even totally demonstrate how bad it is. And when we examine the games he played in the 2024 season, it's really not good. Against Alabama, he had 5 big time throws, which is awesome, but that came with 6 critical errors, and that's terrible. Against Texas, a great defense, he had no big time throws and 1 critical error, which is okay, but against good competition, this is where you weigh a quarterback's performance the most. Now in the film, I saw 2 awful turnover rate plays that we will look at in a minute. Looking at Florida and Ole Miss, which are not amazing defenses, but they're still good, he had no big time throws and a total of 7 critical errors. Not looking good. Then you'll see as a stretch of good gains, but when you see who they're up against, you'll be left disappointed. Maybe besides Tennessee, but 1 good game against 1 good defense compared to 4 good defenses you play badly is not a good sign in a quarterback. Now there are hidden flaws in Carson Beck's game that are not in the data. They're almost impossible to see, and we'll see those problems soon, because there's no better way to examine turnover rate plays than the film. The coverage would be cover 3. Beck fakes the handoff and drops back, looking to the middle and the right, basically. He sees this guy here, but this should not be thrown in any world, in any universe. You have 2 defenders right here. This will not be at any point open. Carson Beck still decides to throw to him, but it is intercepted. There's no way Carson Beck could not have seen this, and it's also why I think height is severely overrated. Definitely something that helps, but it doesn't mean that you're a great quarterback if you're tall, because there are so many quarterbacks who are tall and they still do stuff like this. It's because they're not good decision makers. The errors are going to continue early on in the game. Now it is a second down situation, and the coverage will be cover 3 once again. For some context, Texas runs a lot of zone coverage, and in this game it felt like they never ran man at all the whole game, like maybe a few plays, which is kind of crazy to me. What this means is that quarterbacks are going to have good processing and good decision making, seeing the field correctly to have success and win the game. Carson Beck is not good at this, and so Beck takes the snap, looks to the right quickly, he's going to have an open guy here. This is open if you layer it in correctly, but Beck moves through the read too quickly in my opinion. He then looks left at this guy. Now let's play find the open guy. You could say him, however this is a terrible idea because these defenders are going to sink very quickly. Now the only other guy is this guy on the sideline, and guess where Beck throws the ball? To the ghost right here, because he throws to no one, with it almost being intercepted. It was ruled incomplete, but you have to ask what he was seeing, because I think it's pretty clear no matter what, even if say the wide receiver ran the wrong route or didn't move to Beck's left to adjust for the throw, it's pretty clear he ain't moving, so there's no reason why he should have thrown this. Now Georgia's approaching the red zone. Kentucky's going to run this zone covers with 3 deep defenders, and then underneath it zone across the board. Carson Beck gets a snap, looks to the middle, and then looks to the right and immediately throws. However, I want to see what you guys think about this. This is the receiver he's throwing to. Is this receiver open? The answer is no, it's not, and it's always going to get picked off. Why does Carson Beck throw this? I have no idea. There's literally nothing there that indicates he should throw this even if he's moving immediately to throw. We're seeing Carson Beck make so many poor decisions, and it's not just minor poor decisions, it's critical errors, turnover-worthy plays. Carson Beck makes so many turnover-worthy plays that it's screaming alarm bells. Like, these are the type of turnover-worthy plays that for me personally, if Carson Beck was committing half of these, I would still be saying the same thing, but more of highlighting that these are not just throws that he's attempting and are a little inaccurate on, but they're more of mental errors, like he's not seeing the field right. This is a critical situation as it is 4th and long, and Georgia is down by 12 points in the 4th quarter with 7 minutes and 30 seconds remaining. The coverage pre-snap would be cover 2 man. Beck gets the snap and looks downfield, and he has 2 options: the big time throw opportunity on the left and this receiver here. Now, I'm going to say this is a big time throw opportunity, but I know it's 4th down. And when you have the opportunity like this to get the kill shot, by my own philosophy, you go for it. However, you could say he made the right decision by going for this guy, but this is where he went wrong. And Carson Beck fans will not like me for saying this. Some analysts say that patting the ball is bad. I really don't have an issue with it unless it starts turning into why throws go bad, because that's what happens here. And you'll see Carson Beck throw the interception, huge mistake. But when you do go to this angle, you'll see 2 things. He pats the ball as he wants to get this right. The critique of patting the ball is that it shows that you're a little fidgety, and it gives the defensive lineman a chance to put their hands up, and that's exactly what happens. Because it was tipped, the ball's projection path changes, and that's how it was intercepted. I am more concerned about the fact that this should be a touch throw. Carson Beck is under pressure, but that doesn't change the fact that he needs to throw with touch though. Because if he throws a touch here, the projection of the ball is going to be higher, and that perhaps could have prevented the interception. It's not a guarantee. I'm not saying that if he did that for sure, it would have been blocked, but it is certainly a possibility that it could have prevented it. I also like to bring this up too because Ty Simpson does this very well. He's one of the best quarterbacks I've seen in the past few years who can layer in throws. It's not the most important trait, but it demonstrates the ability for a quarterback to be a passer, not a thrower. Now, that's a lot that we covered, and it's not good at all that there is this many times in his game where he is making mistakes. And the thing is, I left out a bunch of these mistakes. There's so much more examples in his film that I'm not including in this video because it's way too long already. Like Cam Ward coming out of college despite making an unusual amount of critical errors has a shot to make it because he makes an absurd amount of explosive and big time throws. Carson Beck doesn't do that. It's just not the type of player that he is. Now, I brought up earlier the flaws of Carson Beck that are almost impossible to see in the data because it only can be discerned in the film, in my opinion, and that's decision making. Turnover-worthy plays are technically part of decision making. However, there's more to go into decision making, obviously. Another part of decision making that isn't in the data yet, at least I'm aware of, are explosive opportunities available that you see but you choose not to throw to, or times where there is something you probably should have done but you chose not to do. That's a hard thing to put as a number because most people have various opinions about it. With that being said, the best way to look at it is the film. Now, Kentucky is running this cover 3 variation. Carson will get the snap, drop back, going right. He sees that this defender is rushing towards him, so Beck needs to move up into pocket, which he does as he's moving left now and looking left. He has room to take off and scramble, but here's the thing. Carson Beck is not a good scrambler. He's not going to burn you with his legs. So what he should have done instead of scrambling is move more horizontally left so that you can throw to this guy or this guy. These are not big time throws, but they are explosive play opportunities that Carson Beck saw. And when you are a quarterback, you have to anticipate these guys breaking open. That's how you play the game. That's why there's a difference between throwers and passers. It could have been a big play for Georgia. It's as simple as that because it's not a good scramble anyways. He has to be looking for this stuff. Elite quarterbacks are keeping their eyes downfield. QBs, especially pocket passers that cannot be a lethal threat in the run game, are looking for these explosive plays when they're extending outside of the pocket. It's why Brock Purdy is a really good quarterback and why Joe Burrow is elite. It's also why I think Ty Simpson would be a really good QB in the NFL. This is 3rd down, so it's a critical situation. Carson Beck gets a snap, drops back, and mainly is looking down the middle and sees a big play opportunity with this receiver here. This defender, for whatever reason, is completely oblivious to what's happening, so you can throw this as a fastball or you can try throwing it over the top. It's your choice. And Carson Beck just decides to try to take off from the pocket, and he gets sacked. I'm not sure why he didn't throw this. Like, yes, he has pressure coming. That's why you have to be quick with your release and have your feet under you. It's a missed explosive throw. Here's another big time throw opportunity that Carson Beck missed. The coverage pre-snap will look like cover 3, and it ends up being so. Beck is under center and fakes the handoff. He looks to the right and sees a wide receiver not open yet, so he looks to the left and sees a big time throw opportunity right here. Yes, the safety is here, but that's why you place that out in front of the wide receiver, and this is a touchdown. It's a really easy, simple decision to make. Now, Georgia's approaching the red zone, and Auburn's running cover 3. Beck's going to get the snap and look right, and it's a big time throw opportunity right here, with the wide receiver being open and the corner is like hanging on to him. And Beck throws throws a check down. There's no reason to pass this up. Yes, you have a defender lingering right there, but he's in no position at this point, and there's no pressure coming either right now. So you throw this up out in front and maybe towards the sideline. Now Kentucky's running cover 6 pre-snap, moving to another coverage post-snap. It's also important to note that this is third down. So Beck's going to get the ball, drop back, and looks left, and has a big time throw opportunity here. However, while this is going to be open, as you'll see, they are here, he's not going to have enough time to throw this because pressure is going to come. He has the edge rusher coming off to his left, and then he has the stunt coming from his right. So unfortunately, he has to get out of there. So he starts scrambling right, barely shedding the defender. Now he has two options, and you can see all this, by the way. He has this guy coming across here near the first down. However, this is going to be thrown across his body. Now Carson Beck, of all people, knows himself the best. He knows he does not have the arm talent to make this throw. What's also available then and more realistic is this guy here. Now almost any other coach and I will want him to take the shot down the field, knowing his limitations of throwing on the run. Beck tries to make the throw and just completely misses. I don't get why he even thought about doing that. It's much easier to try to toss one up than to throw across your body like that. Again, there's too many examples where he's passing up explosive opportunities or making the wrong decision. But we're not done yet, as there's another major issue that some people argue with me about in my last video about using the 2025 film because of his UCL injury in the last game of the 2024 season, and that's his deep ball inaccuracy. In spite of his injury, Carson Beck's deep ball accuracy has not been good. The problem is that the data shows that he's okay. It's right technically, but it's wrong based on what adjusted completions account for, which is completions plus drops and passes aimed. What it does not account for is the number of passes where he is off target, but the wide receiver adjusts to it, catching it. And on the stat sheet, it shows as completed, but in reality, he was bailed out by the wide receiver. We are not going through the film exploring that specifically, but we will be looking at where he misses deep balls and uses the wrong club in the back per se. Against Ole Miss, the coverage should be cover 6. Beck gets a snap and fakes it to the running back and then to the middle at this receiver, and the safety's right there, and then to the right. He sees the guy he wants to throw to, this receiver here, and he's going to throw it while kind of getting hit, and he underthrows it. Sure, it's possible for the receiver to catch this, but Carson Beck should be throwing to him in stride, not throwing it short. You could argue that because of this hit, that's why it was short, but when you put it in slow motion, Carson Beck's basically releasing the ball already, meaning it probably did affect the ball to some degree, but not enough to where I think it would majorly interfere with the throw. Now this coverage kind of looks like it's going to be cover 2. The safety moves off. I really don't know what they're trying to run or if this guy just forgot what the position he's playing, and it provides the opportunity on this play. Carson Beck gets a snap, takes the handoff, and rolls to his right. He pumps fakes this. Then he suddenly stops rolling right, moves up a few steps, and sees a man wide open. This guy is wide open. Like there's nothing but clean green grass ahead of them. And that's because this guy, whether this was called or not, I don't know, but he bailed out on playing deep here. Regardless, this is open grass. Carson Beck has to make this throw. This is a can't miss huge play opportunity, a game-changing play. He launches it and he throws it incorrectly. This needs to be a touch pass, so you actually give the opportunity for the receiver to go get it and give you some room for error on accuracy. If you throw this like a fastball, you'll have much more of a chance to miss it, and that's how Beck throws this. It's just out of reach for the wide receiver. It's a bone-crushing mistake. Like you just can't miss those. You just have to choose the right club for the throw. This is a underrated aspect of quarterbacks. I consider this arm talent, which is can you choose the right club for the right throw at the right time? And like golfing, if you're in a sand trap, you're going to have to hit the ball a certain way to get it out of the sand trap. But this is something that Carson Beck does not do well. The point being, he completely misses it and he does not use the right club. It's not like these are just a couple plays where he misses, he throws. Like every QB does miss deep balls. He misses so much of these. Sometimes it's just pure inaccuracy, and some of it is just him not using the right club in the bag. This is a prime opportunity for Carson Beck to show what he's got. It's third down, so it's a critical situation with it being cover 1 man-to-man. This is a automatic throw on the outside. You don't get a lot of these, so you have to take them when you get them. Beck's going to get the opportunity here with the receiver running this in and out like route. Even with the safety here, there's plenty of time to really either throw a fastball or you can drop in the bucket. There's enough time for either or. Carson Beck just does not do this right. He throws at the sideline, which is incorrect. He has to place this out in front to keep the receiver in stride, but he doesn't do that though. He makes the receiver have to turn around for the ball and try to catch it like that, which is really awkward. You can say he got it there and the wide receiver has to catch that. You can argue that. It doesn't mean it was the right way to place his ball. Really, the only time you should be throwing a ball like that is if the receiver doesn't have separation, which is not the case here. Here's another situation where he has poor ball placement. The coverage should be cover 3, though it is looking like cover 1 pre-snap. Beck gets the snap and looks towards the middle and then off to the right. He has a wide receiver with some separation and the defender going deep, but the safety will easily interfere with this since he's so close. However, this opens up this guy who's going to find this pocket in the zone. Carson Beck sees this, rolls right, throwing to his receiver, which is the correct decision. It's good by Beck, but he does not place this ball well at all. It needs to be a few yards farther. Otherwise, this defender turns around, and that's a interception. And the wide receiver bails him out by securing the catch somehow. And we'll see the same thing here. Coverage will be a cover 3 variation. It's another third down, so another critical situation. And it's not your usual cover 3 where you have 2 outside corners playing zone. This corner is playing man right here, and this is where Beck is going to throw the ball. Carson Beck drops back, looks at the middle, doesn't like what he sees, and then looks to the left, sees it, and throws it. Now let's check where the safety is at. The safety is here, which means he ain't getting there in time. This is a throw out in front, drop it in the bucket. You could use a fastball, though you're giving yourself way less room for error. Or you can throw with touch. Either one's fine, again, but Carson Beck throws back shoulder. Wrong club. It's not something I see very often in quarterbacks. Like most guys, they understand when they use the fastball and when they use the touch. Carson Beck, he doesn't get it, and I don't know why. He's a smart guy. He's very intelligent, and I know that. Sure, it is a catch, but that doesn't mean it is a good throw. Like we talked about earlier, the unfortunate thing with whether it's just raw completion percentage or adjusted completion percentage is that it does not account for QBs not throwing the ball accurately and their receivers bailing them out. Carson Beck does not have good deep ball accuracy, making a lot of turnover plays like catastrophic errors and passing up explosive throws. His potential for being an elite QB is almost non-existent. This is who Carson Beck is, and unlike Drew Aller, for example, possibly at least, you can't rework him. But there's another issue, and honestly, this is what makes me feel like there's not much hope for Carson Beck, and that is his out-of-structure ability. It is so important in the NFL to at least be viable in playing outside of structure. It means being okay with throwing on the run, and some include scrambling, but I don't do that personally. Carson Beck is kind of a sitting duck in the pocket. He can scramble sometimes, but he really can't escape pressure. He isn't good on the run, and he just doesn't extend plays as often as he should. Let me back that up. For the situation, it's going to be third down, but the coverage is going to be cover 3. Carson Beck gets a snap, look towards the middle, and looks at this crosser right here. Now, this is where Beck and Simpson are very different players. Simpson will often twirl around, scrambling to the other side to extend the play. Beck just can't really do that. He's kind of a sitting duck in the pocket. Unfortunately, it ends up being a sack on third down, and it's not like Beck could have done a whole lot differently because he just really can't maneuver outside the pocket, avoiding pressure that well. It's going to be third down now. Beck's going to get the ball and drop back, and pretty quickly he's going to have pressure coming from his right side. He steps up into pocket, moves right, buying some time because of the pressure. He's not going to have time to look left to see this receiver opening up, but he's keeping his eyes downfield. He moves right and sees the opportunity here. Now this is open. This is a good decision to throw, and you would get the first down too, but Beck places it poorly, throwing behind the wide receiver. This is also a turnover-worthy play because the corner realistically could have intercepted this because it was thrown right to him. It's like Beck was throwing to him as if he was a wide receiver, but ultimately corner knocks it away. It's not good stuff on third down, which you guys know is a critical crunch time situation. This is just another example where Beck is not good on the run and outside of structure. It looks like it's cover 0, but it's going to switch to cover 3. Beck rolls out right with a guy heading straight at him, and he's got to be smart with this ball. And he sees really 3 options. He has the guy running short, which is basically going to get squashed because of this defender. Then he has the intermediate receiver who is open with the defender trailing him. As long as he places it out in front and to the right, it will be fine. And then he has the deep ball, which normally I'd be like, yes, take this explosive play. But the problem here is that you have this safety is kind of blocking the opportunity to throw this out in front. And what I mean is like throwing straight out in front. You're going to throw towards the sideline and out in front near like the shoulder. Beck straight up throws right out in front, and this is a bad play. Sure, the receiver almost comes up with it, but you don't just throw a floater like that with the safety coming down. It's a very risky play, and it's just unnecessary. If you're going to throw that, you have to place it towards the sideline. You don't throw it out in front. This is going to be another third down. I know you guys are probably getting sick of it, but it's a crunch time scenario. I say that to remind you guys he's not good on third down. This time, Texas is actually running cover 1 man-to-man. Beck's going to get the snap and looks down the middle. He has pressure on the way, and he kind of scoops up a little bit and fires to this receiver here. But because Beck is staring down this receiver, the safety comes in. And if this was a Legion of Boom, this receiver is getting knocked out. What Beck could have done, and reasonably so, is move up into the pocket and move right. This would have bought him more time to extend the play. To be elite as a pocket quarterback, you must be good at pocket maneuvering and extending the play in today's NFL. Joe Burrow, though, is regarded as a pocket QB, and okay, let's be honest, he's not very athletic either, has learned to be great at pocket maneuvering. It is a must. I know I'm hammering down the fact that I don't think Carson Beck is good. I did feel the need to make another video on him for the sake of what people said, saying the last video was post-injury, which it's fair. It's a very fair, and I like it when people have constructive criticism. So that's the why behind this video. Carson Beck can be a starter in the NFL. He knows how to run an offense. I don't think he'd be a good or great QB at all. That's just my opinion. Two quarterbacks out of this draft class who I think can be franchise QBs are Kate Klubnik and Ty Simpson. I have a couple of videos on them that you can see here, or if you want to see how Brian Flores wrecks opposing QBs, you can catch that video here.